Welcome back to my channel. This is Bridget. I am better known as Bree, Turning Pages with Bree. So I'm so glad you chose to spend a little of your time here with me. This video is going to be talking about my January reads, right? The books that I actually read in the month of January. And so I'm just going to kind of go over what I read. I was actually able to read 15 books, which is amazing to me because I don't remember ever reading that many books in 1 month. So I was really proud of myself. Not that I meant to read that many books, but I was just in a reading mode and just kept going and kept reading different books. And this would be a combination, just so that, you know, I am totally transparent, with audiobooks, my Kindle, and also physical books. So, and some of them were kind of short, so it didn't take very long. But anyways, just had a great reading month. So I'm going to get right into it, of the 15 books, so we can kind of talk about what I read, what I liked, what I didn't, all of that good stuff to keep it flowing. So started off, or this is in no particular order. Let me say that. This is in no particular order. This is just, you know, I'm going to throw out each book that I actually was able to complete this past January. So my January wrap up. So anywho, the first book is Nightingale by Kristin Hannah. Okay, so if you follow me on TikTok at all, I don't know if I put it on Instagram, but I did put it on TikTok when I finished reading that book. I wanted to get my first emotion about how I felt. So I put a quick little 1 minute video together, and I'll link it up here so you guys can see it. But anywho, I just have to say that book was a 5-star read. I did not, like I said, this is out of my genre. I am not normally a historical fiction reader. This probably is my first book as an adult reading of historical fiction that I can remember. And I absolutely ate that book up. The first few chapters, when I read the first few chapters, I was like, okay, and hold on 1 second, because I have to go get the book. Okay, so sorry, but I had to go grab this book. Kristin Hannah, The Nightingale. Y'all, this book was so amazing. I ate this book up. I ate it up. It is one of those books that will make you cry. If you don't know, you know now. This will make you cry. This book was unforgettable. It will stay in my head rent-free for a long time. And I didn't know, even though I had the book and I was reading the actual book, I didn't even pay attention to the front that says soon to be a motion picture, right? Well, after I read it, I was like, oh, this needs to be a movie, because this is like good stuff. This is like, she wrote the script right here, right? So anywho, this is my first read for Kristin Hannah, and it made me want to read more of her books. So, because whenever I read someone that I really enjoy and I like it, I'm going to want to go find more by them to read. So, of course, now I am reading her book called The Four Winds. So anyways, I'm not going to give any spoilers away because I don't want to make this video too terribly long. If you have not read this book, this is a yes. Definitely read it. Do not judge it by the first few chapters if you're like me, because I was like, oh, this is going to be kind of slow. No, it draws you in. And I read the book and I also listened at the same time. So then I actually, for some parts, I just read, and then I picked back up and I started listening again. And that way, with this book, with historical fiction, I loved it. I mean, I absolutely ate it up. I loved the way that I did that I actually, as they call it, immersive or tandem reading, when you read the book and listen to it at the same time. Totally totally advise to do that if you're going to do historical fiction, because especially when they have really good narrators, it just makes the experience, especially with a thick book like this, it makes the experience so much better. And so advise it. You want to read this. It's just, I can't say nothing bad about the book. The book was good. It was heartfelt. It gives you lots of emotion. It has a little bit of inkling of a romantic situation in it, but it's different. It's not any spice at all. So it's not that type of a book, but it's just beautifully written, and it has quotes in there that I have to, I mean, oh man, it's just beautiful, y'all. This is a beautiful book. And yeah, I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna come back just a second, because I want to pull out the quote so that you guys can hear it. It's just so beautiful. Or one of the quotes that I thought from the book was just so beautiful. So I'll be right back. All right, so I'm back with the quote, and it says, "Men tell stories. I say it is the truest, simplest answer to his question. Women get on with it. For us, it was a shadow war. There were no parades for us when it was over, no medals or mentions in history books. We did what we had to do during the war. And when it was over, we picked up the pieces and started our lives." And that's just one of the quotes. But it was so many, it was several quotes. And I've actually got to go back through the book to make some annotations so that I can get all of those quotes. But I'm going to carry on because it was just such a beautiful, well-written story. And I think, like, if you don't read it, definitely watch the movie. You will enjoy it immensely. So moving right along, I read this other book called She Doesn't Have a Clue. This was from NetGalley, and I did not, this was more like I guess like a rom-com-ish mystery type book somewhat, because it tried to be a little funny in places and have romance and a little bit of spice, but it also had a mystery kind of trope to it, trying to find out who killed someone, but then they ended up not being dead. It was just kind of all over the place to me, in my opinion. So I didn't really enjoy it. I did finish it. I completed the book, but I did not really, like I said, it was a NetGalley read, and I definitely wouldn't have picked this book to read probably for myself, just on my own. But it was one of the choices on NetGalley to read ahead of time because it's, newly coming out. And I just didn't enjoy it very much. Of course, again, it's called She Doesn't Have a Clue, and it's by Jenny Elder Moak. Okay, so next, moving right along, I also was able to read a couple of books by Alexandria House, and I talked about this on the previous video that I've already put out before, I think a week ago or so. So this one was Let Me Free You, which this again is a series about the McLean brothers, and this is dealing with one of the McLean brothers that's a twin. And this one I think is number 4 in the series, and it deals with Neil McLean. And he's a bookstore owner. He owns a bookstore, and he's had some issues like in his past with handling a bad breakup and just kind of like some emotional issues in his life. And he ends up having a love interest in this book, and her name is Sage. And she's had some dealings and some drama going on in her life, and she's actually from, I think, Liberia. And so she is there, her situation is she's threatened in this particular instance to be deported if she doesn't have a reason to be able to stay. So they do a fake marriage situation. And so anyways, it's really cute how it kind of comes about, and their little love story, and how it goes into being something really deep and special between the two of them. I really did enjoy their story, Neil and Sage. And so this was Let Me Be Free, and it is by Alexandria House. And that one, I think I rated it a 4-star because I really enjoy that whole series. I still have the one left about the sister to read, but that one, chef's kiss, I enjoyed it. Also, just in that same series, I read Let Me Hold You, and that was, I think, book 2. And I really enjoyed that one even more. This was about, and bear with me guys, because I'm trying to keep them all together. This one was about the McCain brother named Leland, and he is an NBA player and in the family. And so he has a love interest in there named Kim. And she basically is what does she do? She's like a community center director, I think, and also like somewhat like social worker, caseworker. And anyways, her son, she is a single mom. Her son is also an NBA player for another team, and so she had a child really young, and so it goes into this whole situation with him, the Leland, the main male character, because he's an NBA player, and her son, they're kind of not cool. They have issues, have, drama between them. And so anyways, it has a whole to do that is really fun, and it draws you in to their story and how they, initially meet. And Leland is the type of person that he really wouldn't, I guess, initially go for her as someone of interest to him, because he basically has been a player. He's a ball player, and he's been enjoying his life, kind of just dealing with these different women, in his life. So anyways, Kim comes along and kind of changes that about him, and makes him, pulls him out of that mode of being a player, and makes him realize, hey, I kind of like her. I'm digging her. I want to, see what's going on here, and I'm interested, type of thing. So anyways, it's a beautiful little romance. I gave it a 5-star. I was totally drawn into it and smitten by the whole story, and I definitely recommend the McCain brothers, all 4 books. I think it's 4 or 5 books, I can't remember, but it's a bunch, and they were all good, and they all have cute, really good stories, and it's real funny. I cannot say I laughed out loud several times throughout the series. So if you have not tried Alexandria House, that is a great way to go into her books. Another book I read was a love song for Ricky Wilde. Now this book is magical realism and romance. It's a romance book, of course. And this is by Tia Williams. This is my first read by Tia Williams. And I will say that I realized that I don't think I really like magical realism that much, or at least I didn't in this book. It was okay, but it just wasn't my best read. I do have another book by Tia Williams on my bookshelf that I'm going to read and see if I like that better. I don't think it's magical realism, but definitely I will not be picking magical realism again anytime soon. I read this basically because I did want to try Tia Williams, because I hadn't read anything by her, but it was okay. A lot of people really rave about it and they enjoy it, but it took me a minute it took a while with this book for me. It took me about 2 weeks to read this book because I was really like pulling teeth to get through it. And I think about 50%, at the 50% mark is when it kind of picked up for me and I was able to kind of go on through it. But I just really didn't enjoy it like I thought I would. Not that one, not me. So I'm just going to leave it at that. It just was okay. It was okay. It wasn't a bad read, but it just wasn't my go-to at all. So anyways, that was a love song for Ricky Wilde. And I also finished up 3 books by Christina C. Jones. And I've talked to you, I think, about her books that I was reading. I've shared this information, but I was able to finish her series, which is the Wright brothers. Yeah, the Wright brothers. I don't know if I said the last name correct on the other ones, but on the Alexandria House, but they were the McLean brothers. And Christina C. Jones, this series is the Wright brothers series, and it is 3 books: Getting Schooled, Pulling Doubles, and Bending the Rules. And these 3 brothers all do different things. The first one, Getting Schooled, is the brother. He's in school, but he works for his dad at their car lot. They own a car dealership, and so he works for his dad as a salesman as well. And he is a veteran as well. I won't give the spoiler away, but he is a veteran, and he ends up meeting the love interest in this book, which is, y'all, these names, I swear. What is the love interest name in here? Y'all, Reese. Okay, there it is. So it's Reese, and then he is named, what is his name? Please, okay. I forgot what his name is, but one of the Wright brothers. And Reese is his love interest, and it was really, really good. I enjoyed this book as well. I have nothing bad to say about it. It's of course romance, and I definitely say read it. I mean, when I like a book, just so that we're going back to what I said before, if I like a book, I am going to want to seek out other books by that author. And so I enjoyed the first book, Getting Schooled by Christina C. Jones, and made me want to complete the whole series, which the next one is about it's named Pulling Doubles. And this one is about one of the other brothers, and he is a doctor, and his love interest, hold on. I want to, tell you guys the name. Okay, that brother is named Devin, the doctor. And no, I'm sorry. The love interest is Devin, and the Wright brother is Joseph. So it's Joseph and Devin, and he's the doctor brother, and Devin is a nurse practitioner that works under him at the hospital. And so their little love story sprouts out in Pulling Doubles by Miss Christina C. Jones. And then the third one is called Bending the Rules, and this one is about the brother Justin, and he is a writer. He actually writes books, and he has a really good friend from when they were like young kids, Tony, and she's the love interest that he has in this book, and they kind of end up rekindling, or it's not really a rekindle because they were friends and they had something that came between them and made them kind of separate, but still they of course had the, kind of like they separated basically, and then they end up coming back into each other's lives now at this point, and they are both adults. He has a daughter, and she doesn't have any kids. But anyways, she is like a publicist, agent. And so that kind of gives you a glimpse of how their worlds collide again. Because of course she's a publicist agent. She deals with representing lots of authors, and he is an author. So anyways, they have a beautiful story as well. Really enjoyed that book. Totally recommended. Like I said, these were 5-star reads to me. I enjoyed them. I also was able to get a mystery in, a couple of them. One was Not a Happy Family by Shari LaPena. This one was okay for me. It was not my most favorite of Miss Shari LaPena. I have read other books by her, and I really generally enjoy her books. But this one was just kind of, it was average. It wasn't, it wasn't bad, but it just was not my favorite. Anyways, I'm not going to give any spoilers away, and I'm not going to make this terribly too long. But not a Happy Family. My opinion, it was so-so. The other mystery book I read by Miss Shari LaPena was What Have You Done? Now, that one I enjoyed a whole lot more. That mystery book was, I definitely recommend. That's a yes. Go read that one, and you will be pleasantly okay with that. That's a safe bet. And then I also read this book. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I finished a book called Where the Guilty Hide. This book was by Annette Deshofi, and this is my very first time reading a book by her. It was not, it was okay. It was not a terrible read, but I definitely, and I read the physical book on this one. It just wasn't that great to me. It started out, I thought it was going to be really good because it's like a detective type story. And I just really thought it was going to be more than what it was after the first couple of chapters. But then once I kept going into it, it was like, it was just whatever. I mean, I could have gotten my time back on that one. But, you have to try out different people so that you'll know what you like, or if you don't like them. So, if you don't try them out, then you never know. And I could have DNF'd it, I guess. But once I've started reading something, unless it's just awfully, awfully bad, then I will generally keep going with it. The next book I read, I think I didn't talk about one of Alexandria House books that I read was Let Me Love You. That was the first book in the series, and I actually read that one out of order, that series. And so Let Me Love You, about going back to the McLean brothers, that was the first one, and it was very, very good. I like I said, that whole series I recommend as well, but I did not mention that I had already that I read that one, but I just read out of order. So Let Me Love You by Alexandria House, definitely okay. Read that. And moving right along, I read The Unbroken Rose by Miss Christina C. Jones. That was another book that I totally enjoyed. This was a novella. This book is a series, though. It's 3 like novellas, basically talking about these 3 individual young ladies and their story beyond this place called the Garden. And so it basically follows each one of their lives post this place called the Garden. And so The Unbroken Rose was actually the 3rd book in that Roses and Thorns series, and I'm kind of backwards on it reading that series. So now I'm in the midst of finishing the first 2. So I'm actually almost finished with the second one, and the first one, and then I'm going to be reading the second one, and then I'll talk about those probably next month. But yeah, The Unbroken Rose, Roses and Thorns series by Christina C. Jones. I do like this series. It made me want to know more about the story. It's kind of like one of those things where you get to have a glimpse of what has happened after. So now you want to maybe know what happened before, okay? Because I don't know anything about other than what they mention in these stories about what happened and what went on in the garden. You know, how did that come about? And so anyways, it makes you kind of like interested, and I'm definitely interested. I am wanting to know. I'm wanting to have a peek in. So got to go do some more research to find out where I should start to get more information, if she even created any books around the garden. So we'll see. But anyways, their stories are cute. It's short. They're short reads. You will enjoy it. The Unbroken Rose, Christina C. Jones. That's a yes. Let's see. Oh, I finished another book through NetGalley called Let's Call a Truce. This was a romance as well. It's like a workplace romance book. I totally enjoyed that book. It was a 4-star read for me. I enjoyed it. It was cute. It gave you all the cute little fun, you know, interesting banter between the friends and the co-workers. And he worked, you know, the situation is he worked with her, and she's a single mom because her husband passed away. And so she's navigating life with her 2 girls and trying to, of course, juggle, you know, work and job. And then this relationship ends up kind of sprouting between her coworker that is somewhat of an equal, but it's really cute. It's not a heavy read. It's really light. If you are looking for something that is, you know, simple but fun and gives you just, you know, a little bit of in-between reads between all of the heavy stuff, I would definitely say this one is a good one to pick. Let's Call a Truce, and it's by Amy Buchanan. I thought it was very cute. I loved it. What else did I have? I think that may be it, guys. Yeah, I think that is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, and On Us, number 3. I actually finished that one. I started it at the end of December, and I ended up finishing it in January. So that one was the last book in the On Us series by Nina. I think I've talked to you guys about that. I did finish that one. I enjoyed it. It was really good. Of course, it made me want to read more by Miss Nina. And I did realize and found out that there is books out there that I have missed that deal with the same series. And so I've got to go back and read those books. One is called Clearwater. One is called Reckless. And she just recently dropped Just Now, or no, Just Us, which is, I'm assuming, going to be a whole series, but I don't know. But it's the first book after On Us. So we'll see how that plays out, but I'm pretty sure it's good. And so I've got it in my Kindle ready to go. I've got all of 3 of them in my Kindle ready to go. So I'm going to be picking those and reading those at some point. I don't know if I'll be reading them in February, but I definitely will share with you if I do and how I enjoyed it. But On Us 3, it's really cute how it wraps things up. It was really good. It kept you intrigued and involved. Of course, it's romance. I've talked about On Us already, so I'm not gonna get into a long drawn out thing on them, but I definitely advise, if you like a book that shares a lot of drama, family drama. It deals with mental illness. It deals with relationships between the brothers, and also the relationships that they actually develop with the women in their lives, and everything that comes about with that. Because of course, if you haven't heard me talk about it, the On Us series is about these 5 brothers and these 2 sisters, and then also the individual relationships that they develop between other people that end up coming into their lives. They are both in situations that they did not really have much of a father or mother figure to raise the majority of their life. And that's on both sides. And I will leave it at that. But it has its own set of issues in just a lot of it. But it's very interesting. It keeps you engaged. If you are looking for something that is going to, keep the conversations constantly going, and it has the spice, not too much, but it has spice in it, definitely this would be a read to pick. But I would definitely start with the first one. I would not start with On Us 3. I think you do need to read On Us 1, then 2, then 3 to make it make sense for you. So you'll know where you're going with it. But that's it. And that's 15 books in the month of January that I was able to get read or either listened to or on my Kindle. And I totally enjoyed my month of January reads. So I'm so glad if you stayed with me throughout this whole video. Wonderful. If you thought it was interesting and would like to share or comment, please do. Or if you have questions, please ask. Please subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And I will just, of course, see you on the next one. Have a great one.